gonna try using the keyboard controls for today. What's the worst that could happen? Well, this is it. Today's the day it all goes down. And then there was yesterday. He did it. He's the killer. Fucking asshole. He said that? Wow, it's almost as if the police are bad. Oh! What was that? He has heard but unseen. What? Ugh, this fucking asshole. Valiant Grammary, I exclaimed as he walked in through the door, normally. You aren't the witness today, are you, Uncle Valiant?
Ahaha! A preposterous position. How could I stand upon the stand? Why, my secrets would be free for the plucking. I might even have to sign autographs. That is why I intend to remain hidden for the entire day.
Ooh, with vanishing magic?
Indeed, I will jump upon an express train and express myself to the next town over. But before I go, a word of warning.
Warning? What?
A grand grammary glamour that resides at the root of all that has happened. Do not forget this truth.
Glamour?
A spell, a sorcery, a great illusion. Miss Trucy, though it pains me to part so, I need to get in line for a ticket. Farewell.
What? And there he goes. He sure seemed happy about that illusion thing. Oh, big illusions are the bread and butter of a magician. You can't pull off a show without one. The big illusion is always a spectacle to remember. Usually it involves cutting up things like people or elephants, or the Eiffel Tower, anything really. So he was talking about what we saw at the concert. Lemira's disappearing act, and Prosecutor Gavin's exploding guitar. I wonder what he meant by it being at the root of all that has happened. Well, it's about time. Shall we go? Excuse me, sir. Yes? The scheduled starting time for the trial has been changed. The trial will not be commencing until 10:30 a.m. Sorry for the inconvenience. Oh, for the love of God. You make us get up before 10 a.m. and then you postpone the trial. This shouldn't be allowed. This is like moving lunch forward without telling anyone. That shouldn't be allowed. You can't do that. You can't do that. Great, but he stayed up too late last night watching courtroom dramas. Apparently, he's visited the hospital again. The hospital? I believe it was mentioned that the Chief Justice's son is unwell. Apparently, his condition worsened considerably this morning. The Chief Justice's son. Oh, that's right. Remember yesterday morning? The judge said he had to go visit him after the trial. There's an article about it in the newspaper. If you care to read about it. Incuritis! Incuritis? Where have I heard that before? I'll let you read that article for us, Apollo. Just leave the TV guide page to me. Try not to lose the page with the funnies if you can. The funnies. Okay.
My apologies for the delay. Court is now in session for the trial of, how do you say this name again?
Makitobe. What the fuck, dude? Oh, how do you pronounce this word? GIF. Yes, but how do you pronounce it? GIF. Sure, they'll tell us how to pronounce Grammarly, but not Makitobe.
It's his trial, in any case.
The defense is prepared, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready to rock. Is something wrong, Your Honor?
No, well, yes. It's just, I've been friends with the Chief Justice since we were students. It pains me to see him going through such a difficult time.
Incuritis, was it? That article said there is no known cure. E for the court record. Yeah. Now how do I rotate this? How do I... What? No, how do I rotate the... Oh, it's the arrow keys? God, that's weird. Herr Judge, let me say, with all honesty, I feel your pain. But now is not the time for tears. Now is the time for law.
Indeed. You left off at quite the juncture yesterday.
Quite a sensational ending. Who would have thought Darien would guest star in the season's cliffhanger as a suspect?
I asked the prosecution to look into this matter. Please tell the court your findings.
Oh, please. That's like asking the police to investigate themselves. Darien Crescent is a member of my band, the Governors. He is also a detective, making the current charges serious indeed. Yet, after investigation, I found no cause to... You've got to be fucking kidding me. They actually did that. Oh my god. And your reason is? Weren't you aware, Herr Forehead? He has an impeccable alibi.
An alibi?
Let us review the facts again, shall we? Honestly, if I were Paul, I'd just be like, well, how do we know you're not conspiring with him? Huh? Well, of course, if that happened, I would they would probably kick me out of the courtroom because this whole system is rigged. It's all a fucking conspiracy. The concert held on the night of the shooting was in 3 sets. The Governors ripped up the stage during the first set. For the second set, our guest took center stage. The only performers appearing were myself, Lemira, and Maki, along with a drummer and bassist, for a total of 5. The shooting in the dressing room, however, took place during the third set. Lemira and the defendant, Maki Tobey, had left the stage at that point, and the Governors were already rocking. This is when 2 shots rang out at the scene of the crime. Shots heard by Detective Emma Skye, mind you. And Apollo, you heard them too, right? I sure did. Furthermore, Lemira herself witnessed the moment of the crime. Well, perhaps I should say she heard the moment of the crime. When she claims to have heard Mr. Latusa and Detective Crescent talking.
But that's impossible. Detective Crescent was...
Precisely. Detective Crescent was on stage, getting his groove on, no less. Voila! A perfect alibi.
Does the defense have anything to add to this?
It's true. When I heard those gunshots, he must have been on stage. Still, there's something here that doesn't quite add up.
It appears the defense has no objections. Objection. I believe we can safely say that Darien Crescent's alibi has been acknowledged.
Which means that Lemira was sadly mistaken. Her testimony cannot be true.
Very well. Of course, if we disregard her testimony, then I see no evidence keeping us from declaring a verdict. Indeed, if there are no objections...
Oh, Apollo, if he declares a verdict now... For Prosecutor Gavin's case is airtight. Lemira might have been lying to protect Maki. How can I rely on her testimony? Wait, only yesterday in the detention center. Maki was trying to tell us something. I know it. Maybe the best thing to do was ask him. Under oath.
Very well. The court finds the defendant. What was his name again?
Your Honor.
No, that wasn't it. It was something like Marquis or Mr. Justice.
Your Honor, before you declare a verdict, I would like to call another witness. Exactly what else do you need to hear from? A witness who, until now, has not been given a chance to speak in this court. Because he doesn't speak English. You don't mean... I do. The defense calls defendant Makito Bay to the stand.
What? But he doesn't speak English.
We'll use an interpreter. Interpreter? I'm afraid you'll have to look elsewhere. I only speak a few phrases, such as, I love you, and where's the toilet? That's all you really need to know when you're in another country. Daisuke, I don't know how to say where's the toilet in Japanese. The defense would like to request Lamira as the interpreter.
Lamira? But there is a possibility she's protecting the defendant.
But she'd be interpreted for the defendant. Why would she lie? Under oath!
This is most unusual.
Ha ha ha. Bravo, Herr Forehead. We're working on an honor system here. Herr Judge, the prosecution agrees with the defense's request. If Lamira lies, I'll be able to tell. Even my limited knowledge of the language should be enough for that. Also, she's under oath, honor system.
Well, if both prosecution and defense are for this, I see little cause for refusal.
Finally, some progress.
Bailiff, please show the defendant and Lamira to the witness stand.
Oh my god, this is cute. I suppose there's a first time for everything. Shall we proceed? Your name to begin with. If you would, Lamira. Yes. He says Makito Bay, the defendant.
This is certainly a first for this courtroom. Not that we really needed an interpretation of that message in particular.
So far, so good.
Very well. Mr. Justice, if you would.
If I would what, Your Honor?
Would what? You called the defendant to the stand, did you not? What would you have him testify about?
What do I want him to testify about? I hadn't thought that far yet. Apollo! Aren't you going to ask him what he was about to tell us yesterday? How can I if I don't know what he was saying? Excuse me a moment, if I might speak.
Yes, Lamira.
Just now, Maki said there is something about which he wishes to testify. Maki wants to testify about something. What could it be?
What sort of testimony is he talking about?
One moment, please. The suspense is killing me. Killing you? It's his head that's on the line. What? 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 Huh? What?
Well, Lamira?
According to Maki, he has proof of his innocence.
What?
This is a surprise. Why is this information being kept from me when I'm his lawyer? Yahoo! Victory, Apollo, we did it! This is sounding too good to believe. And I know what that usually means.
Well, if that's true, then this is vital testimony. Maki, please testify to the court.
This is probably what he was gonna tell me yesterday. That can't be legal, right? Like, it's gotta be illegal to, like, prevent the defendant from telling their lawyer vital information. That's gotta be illegal. Gotta count as, like, obstruction of justice. He says that word of Mr. Latus's death came as a great shock. But if the killer truly followed the lyrics of my song, I, that is, he, could not have done it. He says that because the lyrics are in English, he does not understand them. Baba Bing, that's what I've been saying. Isn't that what I've been saying? That's what I've been saying.
I see. He wouldn't have understood the English lyrics to the song. That would prevent him from following them so closely.
I wondered what he meant by proof. Why, he would only have to ask Lamira to know the meaning of the song. Lamira, did you ever explain the lyrics of that song to him? I did tell him generally what the song was about, but never in so much detail, and he never asked. Sorry. Has my oft-repeated warning already fled that forehead? Lamira might be protecting the witness.
Well, anyway, let's proceed with the cross-examination. Mr. Justice, if you would.
Yes, Your Honor. Something's hidden in that testimony, I know it. I'll just have to trust my bracelet to tell me where. It worked yesterday, it'll work today. He says that word of Mr. Toose's death came as a great shock. But if the killing truly followed the lyrics of my song, he could not have done it. He says that because the lyrics are in English, he does not understand them. I'm guessing the truth is that he does speak English, because... Oh, right. Oh my god, his eyeballs. Oh! I saw him do a thing. Hey. Right there!
Gotcha!
Maki, you can't fool my eyes. You glanced toward her the very moment Lemira said the word English. Why? Don't bother interpreting that. He understands me. Maki, tell the truth. You can understand English, can't you? But what are you saying? Of course he can't. Must he continue this charade? Mr. Justice, Maki says this. I know the word English. Huh? Before coming to this country, he heard me speak in English. He learned a name for this language. That is all. What? Give me a break. Why are you doing this, Apollo? Why are you fucking... Is that such an unusual word to understand? Do you not know Espanol, for instance? No hablo Inglés. Well, yeah, but... I am sorry, he truly does not understand your language. Well, then explain this. How does he know the crime followed the lyrics? Have you always been such a suspicious-minded lad? It's my job! It is simple. So simple it hardly requires an explanation. He read about it in the newspaper. The newspaper? The Burgundian Daily Bugle. You can buy it in this country these days, you know. Oh! You have already begun to report about this case in our homeland. Hold on, let me look at the record. It doesn't mention the lyrics of Lemira's ballad! I was right. What is wrong, Mr. Justice? Your eyes, they are quite fierce all of a sudden. Maki is lying. Maybe it's time to show them proof that he's lying. Yeah, I got you now. But... I already know how this is gonna end. It's all like, you just incriminated your own client. Oh, what? No! I have a Burgundian newspaper. The Burgundian Daily Bugle, as a matter of fact. Indeed, there was a feature article about the case. Well, actually, the feature article is always about Burgundian Spider-Man. But underneath that is the article about this case. Could you read this for me, Maki? That's right. It doesn't mention the lyrics. What? What is this all about? I'm sorry, Maki. You couldn't have read about the lyrics in a Burgundian newspaper. Baba Bowie. What does this mean? But I don't see how it's possible. I know. He must have heard the lyrics when the police were doing the questioning. Yes. Not possible. The subject of the lyrics was not brought up in police questioning. I read the full report myself. So, the lyrics weren't in the newspaper, and the police didn't mention them. The only place you could have heard them was in this courtroom. In English, no less. The witness will explain herself, but himself? Maki says, Yes? It is true I read the newspaper, but this is not where I learned of the lyrics. I was mistaken. Now I remember. You remember? He says he heard of the lyrics from me. What?
Is this true, Lemira?
Yes, I'm afraid I had forgotten it myself. Oh, for the love of... Then it looks like Herr Forehead's been jumping to conclusions again.
It seems so, yes.
Oh, no! I was onto something, I know it! I can't let this chance slip away!
Time is an issue today. Mr. Justice, are you finished with the cross-examination?
What are you gonna do, Apollo? If I'm going to keep on cross-examining, I'd better have an angle of attack. Or else. My bracelet's still reacting. Your Honor, please allow me to continue.
If you must, you must. Very well. Witness?
I understand. It was I who explained that the crime followed the song. Let's see. I get the feeling that I should be looking to her for tics. Let me hold on again. Exactly how much should you explain to Maki? This is a question for me, yes. This interpretation thing is getting old fast. I told him that Mr. Latouche had been killed and why he was a suspect. And I told him the crimes of that day followed my son. Did you mention any particular words of the song relating to the case, such as heart? Yes, of course I explained this. He was quite surprised. Yay, I knew he was innocent. I believe he is too, Shusi, I do. What's wrong, Apollo? You got a tummy ache or something? Something's hidden in that testimony. If it's the truth, I'll find it. I know that this is where the fucking... So... I'll just have to think. Wouldn't it be difficult for him to perform without knowing the meaning of the lyrics? I mean, he just needs to know the melody and maybe the harmony. He did not know what the song was about, its mood, shall we say. He did know what the song was about, its mood, shall we say. This was enough to play by. I told him it was a song about a guitar and love. It's not actually the guitar that's in love, strictly speaking. But running away is easy. It's the living guitar. Not really. Yours is also a valid interpretation. It's the living guitar. Okay. No, it is my fault. I am too used to singing in Burgundian. It's when Jungkook reacts to... One of the boys from BTS reacts to you dying in childbirth. Okay. That the crime followed the sauce. Did I press around this? I did, didn't I? Gotcha! The subtlest of ticks. Lemira, I'm currently cross-examining Maki. Why should you be uncertain? Me? Uncertain? Fuck. Yes, you swallowed the very moment you told the court it was I who explained. I see there is little point in trying to hide anything from you. Lemira, are you indeed protecting someone? That is not a question with a simple answer. To tell the truth, I do not believe it myself. Then allow me to answer for you. Lemira, you're protecting... shit. Well, it's gotta be... It's gotta be him. Lemira, you are protecting Maki. That's why you lied and told us that you had explained how the crime followed the song. I don't fault you for trying to help, but this is not the way. Maki, I believe you didn't do it really. I trust you. But you've lied to us twice. And now you have Lemira lying on your behalf. If this is going to work, you have to trust me too. Your two lies cover a simple truth. You understand English. You have to.
Witness, is this true? Do you understand English?
Yes, a little only.
What?
First he could see and now he can talk. And you did not know about this, Lemira? No, I did not. It is quite a surprise.
How many secrets is this witness hiding?
This is Maki, could you tell us what really happened?
No shooting. I did no shooting.
So you weren't in the dressing room when I heard those 2 gunshots, correct? Apparently the answer to that question isn't simple either. I was in dressing room, behind desk manager, he on floor. Which would be after the shooting, right? Then there was voice. Voice? Or voices? Was it you and Emma, Apollo? So when Maki went into the dressing room, Mr. Latouche had already been shot. And then we came to the door. Panel high up, I take off, run away, run away. So it was you who escaped through that air vent. As the prosecution has upheld all along, no less. The defendant has admitted to being at the scene. Might we take this as a confession? No, he's clearly denied that he did it. I know shooting. Manager on floor, already on floor. The victim had already been shot, you say. I find that hard to believe. The defendant understood the song lyrics. He was at the scene of the crime. This can only mean one thing. He is the shooter.
Does the defendant have anything to say to this?
He's clammed up, Apollo.
Then let's ask Mr. Justice. Will you require any further testimony from the witness?
Is that it? Is there nothing else I can get him to testify about? Wait. No, of course there is. What is this cocoon, anyway? There's a potent cure. A cure? Are you a smuggler? That cocoon has to have something to do with this. Mac, please tell us the truth for your own sake. No, no more speak. Not to any of you. So much for your precious trust here, forehead. Hey, you're the one who didn't believe him! Regardless, this brings us to an impasse.
It does seem that the defense and defendant are at odds. I doubt we are likely to learn anything more of value should this continue. I see no other course but to declare a 5-minute recess. The defense will work things out with the defendant so that we might proceed.
Apollo Eustace. That's justice. But learn how to say it if you ever want to get some. Jesus fucking Christ. Believe, I know shooting. Maki claims Mr. Latouche was already down on the ground when he entered the room. Maybe it was a trap and he walked right into it? Suddenly I hear a revolver. Close, very close. Then I hear a voice. You heard gunshots? Yes, it's true. I hear revolver, but only sound. Wait, you're saying you went into the dressing room and found Mr. Latouche already dead, and then you heard shots? If that's true... So, you were at the scene of the crime when you heard those shots? And you escaped through the air vent. Among Us. I know. Huh? What do you know? I know if I open and vent, I can leave stage and backstage. So the vents went to both the stage and the backstage area. Is that what he means? Hey, he's right! Look, Apollo! Huh? Yeah. But how did you know it was connected like that? Wait, I bet his father was the architect that designed the hall or something. I hear this from Magician. Magician? Don't look at me! A magician, huh? Well, at least we're clear on one thing. Maki didn't shoot Mr. Latouche. Yeah, but what does that leave us with? We're supposed to say he went into the room to find the body, and then he heard the shots? That one's going to go over well in court. Not. This suit is not black. No, not comes at the end. This suit is black, not. Oh my god, Trucy, you gotta see this movie. It's called Borat. I fucking love it. Mawav. Mawav. No. And then Phoenix goes to... No, Paulo! Do not show my daughter Sacha Baron Cohen's 2005 comedy Borat. You will permanently change your sense of humor. Don't do it. Apollo, you're his defense. You're supposed to believe whatever he says, even lies. That's what Daddy always told me. No. I'll just pretend you misheard him every time. So, what do? You're sure you won't testify, Mackie? No talking, no. Well, it was worth a shot. A cocoon. I can't go home. Can't go home? Psycho Menace. Pleading the fifth. And the second. Bang, bang, bang. Death! Mabel. Of course, he's scared. Oh, well, I guess we'll just have to try a different approach. There's the spirit, Apollo. So, what's your plan? If Mackie won't testify about it, we'll have to get someone else to testify. Someone else? I think we're out of time. Let's get back in there. Right.
Court is now back in session. Mr. Justice, have you sorted things out with the defendant?
Yes, Your Honor. We had a good talk.
Very well. So, will he testify?
Your Honor, the defendant will not testify.
What?
Shame, and here I thought this was your big chance to turn the case around. Actually, it is. The defense would like to approach this case from a different angle, Your Honor.
A different angle?
If Mackie won't testify, then I know who will. I would like to cross-examine the witness in this case, Lemira.
Lemira?
What are you up to now? I thought we determined yesterday that Lemira's testimony was insubstantial. There's nothing you can... Lemira was taken to the hospital yesterday with injuries.
Well, what happened?
She was assaulted, Your Honor.
Assaulted?
Someone wanted Lemira dead. Thankfully, she was able to save herself.
What?
I've heard no such reports. Prosecutor Gavin. Why would anyone be out to kill Lemira? Can you think of a reason? Well, think of how she is known in our country. A singer from overseas who doesn't speak English, yes? Yet someone tried to keep her mouth shut. Who could that have been?
You don't think?
I do. It was the same person who shot Mr. Latouche. The killer was afraid of her, afraid of what she might say. The defense believes that something was hidden in her testimony yesterday. Something that the killer doesn't want getting out. So am I to understand that this is what you are saying? Namely that there is a nugget of truth in Lemira's testimony. A nugget we have yet to uncover. Exactly.
If Lemira was attacked, this has serious implications. Very well. There were some vague points in her testimony during yesterday's trial. Perhaps we did not inquire as deeply as we might have into some. The court will hear Lemira's testimony once more.
Lemira, I must apologize. We must ask you to stand again and speak. You need not apologize. I know that Mackie is innocent, and I will do all that I can until the court realizes this. Let's review your testimony from yesterday. You told us you heard 2 gunshots in the shooter's voice through the window, and that the voice belonged to Darian Crescent, yes? That is correct. At which point I proved she could not be correct. She couldn't have heard any of those things. The small window at the scene was closed and found to be quite soundproof. She heard it through the earpiece.
You have nothing to say to that, Mr. Justice?
Well, I don't know exactly what yet, but I do know there's something there. There is, it seems, much you do not know.
And yet it is my duty to hear him out. Perhaps the witness should be so kind as to testify once more to the court.
Of course, Your Honor. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. That's when I heard them, Mr. Latouche and the detective. I heard the faint sound of a gunshot and stopped. Then I heard another gunshot. There was the smell of gunpowder. I knew I must tell someone, but I was in a hurry, so I kept moving past the small window.
Pretty much the same as yesterday's testimony.
I am sorry. I am not used to speaking much in this language. Perhaps my descriptions are lacking in some way. Yet everything I have said here is the truth. Then it is my distinct displeasure to say this. What you have said to have happened is impossible. Do I have to repeat myself? Lemire was attacked because of this testimony. What? Juicy? Apollo, you know, for a moment there, you were pretty cool. Maybe I do better when I don't try to think ahead. Yeah, that's it. That's how you be an ace attorney. You just say random bullshit and just hope that it's true.
Very well, Mr. Justice. Perhaps you can coolly cross-examine the witness.
On my stage to the backstage exit. Sorry. Is something wrong? I know I said hold it, but she's saying the same thing she said before.
Mr. Justice?
Sorry, it's nothing. Please continue with your testimony.
Now I know what they mean about the reckless youth these days.
The one in red over there is a shining example here, Judge. You're the last person who should point fingers, Mr. Rockstar. Mr. Latouche and the detective. Faint sound of the gunshot stopped. Then I heard another gunshot. But do you know what they said? Darren Crescend? I did not know his name at the time, but yes, it was him, the one who took the stand yesterday. How many times do I need to remind you that's impossible? There is no way you could have heard him. Because the window at the scene was closed? Is that why? Of course. Apollo, if we keep asking the same questions as yesterday, we won't get anywhere. She's right. Maybe there's a different angle I can try. What were they talking about? Did you hear anything else? Do you by any chance remember what they were saying to each other? If so, please tell us. I have given it much reflection, but I was afraid of this. She doesn't remember. I only heard one phrase clearly. A whole phrase. You remember something that was said? Why didn't you say anything yesterday? Though my memory is clear, I was afraid to speak. You see, I do not understand what was said. This could be it. The clue I've been waiting for. Well, what did she say? It was the other man speaking, not Mr. Latouche. The shooter, then. Darren Crescend.
Well, what did he say?
It's over. Press the switch, now.
Switch. And the shooter said this to the victim, Mr. Latouche?
I thought it quite strange myself afterward.
It is a mystery. What could it possibly mean? Mr. Justice, care to shed some light on this?
Sure. I'd be delighted. It's very vital. Maybe we could add that to the testimony. Maybe, Apollo. Press the switch. Would it happen to be this switch? Press the switch. There's only one key that can unlock the mystery of those words. Oh. Yet there was nothing at the scene that could be called a switch. Save the lights. True, there wasn't a switch at the scene. But it just so happens I have a switch right here.
That certainly does look like a switch, doesn't it?
The problem is, this was found not at the scene of the crime, but on the stage.
The stage?
Where the concert was held, yes. This was found hidden there, on the stage.
Are you claiming that the voice Lemire heard was of someone commanding another to press the switch?
It's a possibility. Oh, Herr Forehead, I'd call that an impossibility. Why? It's hardly necessary for me to remind the court of the layout of the concert forum. The stage is quite far from Lemire's dressing room. Not to mention that the Governors are in the middle of a concert on stage. We aren't known for being a quiet band. You can shout all you want and not be heard. The detective's voice was loud, but certainly not a shout. So too have Herr Forehead's cries of possibility fallen short of being heard. I know, sorry, but he wouldn't have needed to shout. Earpiece, here it comes. Excuse me, you heard what I said. Or do you need me to shout it for you? It would have been quite simple to be heard on the stage from that dressing room. Oh wait, you like evidence, don't you? How about this? Using this, it would be easy to get a message to someone on stage from the dressing room. The earpiece. Prosecutor Gavin, perhaps you're familiar with this.
Why, that's... What? What is it? Is that some kind of newfangled phone they invented while I wasn't looking?
These dang phones! Kids on their damn phones, always on their phones. It's a type of transmitter, a communications device.
Communications? Device? Millennials, always texting.
Everyone on stage was wearing one of these. Isn't that right, Prosecutor Gavin? Yes, actually, they're for talking in between band members. We all had one on. So you admit that if you were wearing one of these, talking from the backstage to the stage would be simple. True, but wait. Those send out an electronic signal. To avoid interference with the audio systems, the range is quite limited. Lemire said it was about 30 feet, right? Look at this cross-section diagram of the concert forum. Ah, exactly. The walk from the stage to the backstage seems far, but the direct distance is less than 30 feet.
That can't be! So when Lemire heard the shooter's voice, he could have been talking to someone on stage.
Ha, you're claiming this is the switch in question. Why did it have to be on the stage at the time? It could be placed in a pocket and carried anywhere. Someone could have hid it on the stage after the fact. Hey, he's got a point. How do we know where it was when she heard the voice? When the shooter said press the switch? Well, I guess we don't.
An unfortunate situation. I'm afraid that until we know where this switch was, there's little point in debating it.
Duh! We're sure this was the way to go with this. What is this switch anyway? We don't even know that basic fact. Oh! Wait a second. I do know what this switch is. And if you follow that train of logic to its incredible conclusion, it ends up in proof that completely changes this case. What's up, Apollo? Apollo? We know about the switch, right? We know what it is. Yeah? Well, think of when it was used that day. Think of what had happened.
Well, Mr. Justice, you have no further information to share concerning the switch?
Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Justice.
I've been remiss in not telling the court this before. I know what this switch is.
Well, it seems the defense is set upon linking this switch to the case. Let's see your evidence of the link. What evidence do you have to explain what this switch is?
Oh, well, that's easy. It's, this thing. Prosecutor Gavin, you remember this?
That's that! The what? That's what? Is it another one of those newfangled phones?
Those dang phones! This is an igniter. What phone looks like this?
Igniter? You mean it's like a lighter?
Yes, actually. You weren't saying the switch is a remote. Yeah. This is a remote trigger for an igniter. What? Look, I'll show you.
Yo! Mr. Justice, you'll cease and desist from burning down this courtroom.
Sorry, that was a bit more fire than expected.
If my whiskers have caught on fire...
Prosecutor Gavin, let me repeat myself. This switch is a remote igniter trigger. Doesn't that suggest something to you? You're talking about what happened to me, aren't you? Ha! Exactly. That night at the concert, there was one unusual burst of flame. when your guitar caught fire in the middle of your performance.
Wasn't that part of the stage show, though?
Prosecutor Gavin was entirely unaware such a thing had been planned, and the guitar that burned was a valuable keepsake. That's right, he got it in Burgundia from Lemura. He said the sound was amazing. Before it burned, of course. Now it just kind of smokes. The better the guitar, the brighter it burns. Hair forehead. Yes. And don't tell me you're trying to tie these two things together. Those being the shooter's voice heard by Lemura, and the guitar suddenly catching on fire. I am. It's really simple when you think about it. Mr. Latouche and the shooter were at the crime scene. The shooter was wearing a headset. He ordered someone on stage to press the switch. The switch was pressed and the guitar caught fire.
Well, that does seem to make sense. Though something about it is bugging me. Can't quite put my finger on it.
Really? Seems pretty simple to me.
Objection!
Hair forehead, don't destroy what little respect I have for you. I was expecting something a little more sensible. I guess I was wrong.
What's all this about, Prosecutor Gavin?
The simple story makes no sense. Think, that night my guitar caught fire, yes. The cause may have been this indeed. However, the guitar caught fire during the second set. Ah, that's right, of course! The guitar caught fire during Lemura's song. Indeed, yet the shooting happened during the third set. The two are utterly unrelated.
Yes, that must have been what was bugging me. The whole premise for this is faulty.
See, his story makes no sense. Oh! Are you sure about that?
What exactly do you mean, Mr. Justice?
Maybe it's not the premise for my explanation of the switch that's at fault. Maybe it's our premise for the entire case so far.
What premise is this specifically?
I'm glad you asked. I'm saying that maybe the killing didn't take place in the third act.
Objection!
Oh, what's this? But Detective and Sky had shots and found the body. All of this happened in the third act.
Objection!
Gunshots rang out, and according to his testimony, Maki was in that dressing room at the time.
Where are you going with this, Mr. Justice?
Stay with me, Your Honor. He also told us this in his testimony, namely that the victim had already been shot. We all heard gunshots, but no one saw the shooting.
This is insane.
Just before the shooting took place, the shooter was heard on his headset, telling someone to press the switch. The next moment, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flame. We know that a remote-triggered igniter was inside the guitar. From all these facts, we can draw only one conclusion. The crime did not take place during the third act, but during the ballad performance, the second act.
What? Order! But that goes against the evidence.
What does, Your Honor?
This crime was carried out according to the lyrics of the song, yes?
Hey, he's right. Look! The bullet is supposed to come after the fire. You're thinking about it the wrong way. Huh? Look, why would the shooter craft the events of the day to follow the lyrics anyway? It's an awful lot of trouble to go through, with little merit for the person doing it.
Well, I'm sure whoever it was had some reason.
Yes, they did. A reason that made it advantageous to follow the lyrics. You're saying the order was reversed on purpose?
Reversed, Professor Gavin.
If the criminal followed the lyrics strictly, then yes, the shooting would have had to come after the guitar burst into flame. Yet her forehead has raised another possibility. He's claiming that the bullet came not after, but just before the fire. Couldn't have put it better myself. We were only meant to think that the shooting came after the guitar burst into flame. That was the criminal's objective. The crime followed the lyrics to a point, but that was the ruse. Why else would the killer risk discovery by moving the body? That was the final touch to make us think he'd followed the lyrics the whole way.
Order! That would explain this most unusual situation.
It does. The killer changed the order of events to create himself an alibi. In other words, the killer was someone who had an alibi for the third set, but not the second.
Objection!
I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but sadly it has. Let me tell you why your little fairy tale makes no sense at all. Oh, it sounds good, I'll give you that. You've given us a reason why the killer bothered following the lyrics of my song. But I question your logic, for it's flawed from the very beginning. Flawed? Yes, a contradiction here, Forehead, one I've pointed out several times no less. At the time of the crime, the small window at the scene was closed. How could Lemira have heard a voice through it? Earpiece. Oh. I know that you would like to divert our attention from this critical fact, but you are basing your entire line of reasoning on a false premise. Right. Lemira's testimony is my entire case. That voice she heard. The shooter's voice. What if she couldn't hear it, Apollo? Look, what do we have? A man saying press the switch. And near the crime scene we have a switch, which acts as a remote trigger for an igniter. And last but not least, Prosecutor Gavin's flaming guitar. It can't all be coincidence, but how do I make it work? I see a more direct line of questioning is required. When the crime scene was investigated, immediately after the crime, that window was closed. Killer, tell us how Lemira heard the voice.
A key point, to be sure. Mr. Justice, can you explain this to the court?
Okay, Justice. You've got one thing to prove and one thing only. Lemira heard a voice, and she heard it during the second set. Think, how is Lemira able to hear the voice? Though the window was open, she was somewhere else. When we investigated the scene, the window was closed. The shooter had no reason to close it had it been open either. Meaning, it was impossible to hear the voice through that window. It's good to hear you making sense again. For a moment, I was afraid you might be a Burgundian, too. Wow! Oh, okay, so he's racist. As I was saying, Lemira could not have heard the voice through the window, so there can be only one explanation. She heard the voice from another location entirely.
What's this?
You do amuse me so. And here I thought you and Good Sense were back on speaking terms. Now I'm afraid you and Good Sense speak two entirely different languages. What? Shall I interpret for you, Herr Forehead? Lemira clearly stated she heard the voice through that small window, and there is only one small window at the scene. Are you sure? Think about it. Isn't there another small window at the scene? There is? I'm confused. What the fuck are you talking about, Paul?
I know the look. He wants us to ask him. Very well. You claim Lemira heard the voice from another location. Mr. Justice, show us where this location was.
Lemira heard the voice from... Oh shit, I have to... The speaker? The holes? Is it the holes? No, wait, that can't be it. Is it the holes?
Does this look like a small window to you, Mr. Justice?
The state of Arcan society created from numerous objects and artifacts. In a sense, anything could be a window on our society.
I didn't ask you to point out a window on society. Why a window on the crime scene?
Oh, no, I can't even say. Fuck me! Fuck! Oh. It's not from there, and it also wasn't... Mall window. So, was it the fence? This is where Lemira heard that voice from.
But that's no small window. That's the air vent.
What did she tell us? She said she's a Burgundian, unfamiliar with our language. It's not a stretch to imagine she called this air vent a small window. Now you've done it. You've gone beyond ridiculous and into ludicrous. So Lemira was up in the ventilation system listening to this man's voice? That's the only logical explanation, yes. Logical? I do not think this word means what you think it means, Herr Forehead. Okay, what about it isn't logical? Ha! It hardly merits saying. Why would Lemira be in the ventilation system? Hiding like a rat. No offense intended to it, of course. The explanation for that is simple, Prosecutor Gavin. Isn't it, Lemira? Oh, she was still there? You have been listening to our discussion here, yes? Yes. I admit it's had me quite confused since yesterday. Yes, the small window was closed, but why should that mean I could not hear through it? I feared a prosecutor might himself need an interpreter. Gah! The problem here is words. Lemire, this small window through which you heard the voice, was it up high on the ceiling of the room, not low in a wall? Yes, it was up on the ceiling. What?
Order, order! I will have order! Witness, you will clarify this statement to the court. Are you in fact saying you are up above the ceiling of the room? And that's where you heard the moment of the crime?
Yes, in fact I was. I am sorry, I never imagined it would become such an important point. Yes, well, why the heck were you up there?
I believe it's time for another testimony.
I'm not sure I can't.
May I remind you, this is a murder trial. We will hear your testimony. Tell us why you witnessed the crime from above the ceiling of that room. Please.
Well, looks like I'm on the right track. Yes, I was above the ceiling when I heard the voice. I heard there was a small window there before. It was in the middle of my performance. I had no time to report what I had heard. As to why I was there, I cannot say. I am bound to secrecy on this matter.
Bound to secrecy?
In my line of work, one has many obligations to uphold.
But you say you're in the middle of your performance. So this did happen during the second set.
I did not witness the crime, you must understand. I only know... What? It froze. Did anyone else see that? I only know what I heard.
Yes, but you must tell us what you were doing in detail.
That's what the cross-examination is for, yeah, Herr Forehead. If she has to, like, if she can't talk about something, I think she's within her rights to just leave that out of her testimony. Our mission in this court is to discern the truth. No obligation, no binding pact may hinder that mission.
Very well. Mr. Justice, you may begin the cross-examination.
It's so like, you have the right to remain silent, to refuse to testify, but that means you waiver your right to testify. What are you going to do, Apollo? I'm going to find out the truth. She was up above that ceiling for a reason. I just have to get it out of her. Cross-examination. Yes, I was above the ceiling when I heard the voice. I had heard there was a small window there before. I was in the middle of a performance. I had no time to report what I had heard. So, without a word, just let the third set start. After the curtain closed for the second set, there was still much to do. You could have prevented this whole misunderstanding if you'd only told us sooner. Yes, perhaps I could have. I see little point in badgering the witness. What's done is done. The mind works differently when one is in the middle of a performance. Don't I know it? Why, I've lost my voice in the middle of a show and kept on singing, completely unaware. Singing without a voice? If only all contradictions were so obvious. If only I could get Lemire to talk. Pressure like this doesn't seem to get anywhere. Wait, that was the fun. As to why I was there, I cannot say. You heard the gunshots during the second set, during your performance. You're quite sure? Yes. Why would I lie about the time?
Why didn't you tell us this yesterday?
No one asked me. I thought you all knew. I told you Mackie was not the killer. I told you this many times. Yes, you did. But you never told us why. I am sorry. I was not able to speak of it. Unable or unwilling? She's not talking, Apollo. What do we do? We'll just have to prove it ourselves. As long as she is bound by this pact of silence, she won't talk. If I can prove that she was up there, she'll have to admit. But how are you going to do that? She was singing on the stage, Apollo. She couldn't have been up above the ceiling, too. Yes, she could. I've got a theory as to why, too. And maybe I've got the evidence to prove it. Wait. Oh! I cannot say. First of all, I'm going to save. I cannot... Is it... No, no, no. Present. Yes, I was right. I did. Ha ha ha. Lemira, truth be told, the reason for your presence above that ceiling is quite clear, especially when you consider what happened during your performance. What happened? Yes, it's all right here on this video. It wraps around me, and down through the air I fly. Magic. Whoa. Whoa. Magic. And then he made a beat so fire. I said he dropped a beat so fire. Oh shit! Silly man. As we can see, Lemira was clearly on stage for her entire performance. Though it saddens me to be so realistic, Lemira isn't capable of actually vanishing, let alone teleportation. So the only explanation is that she was hidden from view. And during that time, she moved to the back of the forum. Apollo! What, Juicy? It's not nice to reveal a magician's secrets, and it's against the rules. But I'm a lawyer, I'm not supposed to be nice.
This is all very fascinating. But how is it possible? There's only 20 seconds between when she disappears and reappears. She couldn't have moved that fast. Is something wrong, Prosecutor Gavin?
This was his concert, his show. He knows how the illusion was performed.
Aha!
He's just realizing his own oversight. Let's look at the cross-section diagram again. Here we can trace a route through the ceiling. It goes from the stage through the backstage to the rear of the forum.
Aha!
Recall Lemira's testimony from yesterday. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it.
She went from the stage to the backstage exit. A perfect description of this route above the ceiling.
Lemira knew this because of her part in the illusion, but she wasn't the only one who knew. What? Just now in the lobby, Maki told me something. Oh. He said that. Oh, were you not informed, Prosecutor Gavin? I knew about the Vanishing Act, of course. Yet I had no idea of the route that would be used. Why didn't that magician tell me? Magicians don't reveal details of their acts on a need-to-know basis. Well, I'd say this counts. They're the bread and butter of a magician's life, you know. Which is why he bound Lemira to secrecy. Well, Lemira? I am impressed, Mr. Attorney. Maki was right about you.
So, what does this mean? Are you saying you used this route above the ceiling?
I did.
Well, that's that. But I'm still a little confused.
Why is that, Your Honor?
As I said before, there was very little time between when she disappeared and when she reappeared. 20 seconds tops. How could she do it so fast? Especially if she stopped to hear the shooter's voice.
That's a good question.
Can the witness explain this to the court?
I cannot.
Very well. Mr. Justice?
Yes?
It's all up to you. Do your thing.
What thing, Your Honor?
You need to explain how Lemira was able to teleport like she did. Or I'm throwing your case out with the bathwater.
Why do I get picked on? It's Lemira who isn't going along with the program here. As I have stated before, I am not at liberty to speak of the illusion that night in detail. Permission to treat this witness as hostile? Permission granted. I'm gonna punch you in the face. That would ruin my day.
Then you'll just have to tell us what you can. We'll hear your testimony on this. Mr. Justice, it will be your job to wring the truth out of her.
Permission to treat this one as... can't. Don't do the joke. Don't do the same joke twice. Yes, if you would, please. Right. I feel like a student before finals. Good luck, Apollo! Did you not pass the bar exam? I followed the route exactly as I was instructed. There was an emergency exit in the backstage, where a stagehand waited. From there, one can enter the forum on the opposite side from the stage. The plan was for me to move there in 2 minutes. I was on my way when I heard the voice. 2 minutes.
2 minutes, you say? The mystery deepens.
I suppose it was too much to hope that the judge would come up with something.
As does my curiosity. Take it away, Mr. Justice.
Right, Your Honor. All I have to do is find the contradiction between what Lemira is saying and what we can see plainly in the video. I figured it out already. I am a magician, after all. Well, tell me. Not a chance. I can't reveal another magician's secrets. Come on. Trucy, a child's life is on the line. You gotta work with me here. You're supposed to be on my side here. The big illusion. I followed the route exactly as I was instructed. Emergency exit in the backstage. I'll just press on everything. Fuck this. How did you, proceed along this route? How? Why, I walked. But you arrived behind the forum much too fast to have been walking. Tell the truth, Lemira. You rode some kind of vehicle. What? Apollo's lost it. Hey, that's not a bad guess. Wrong, but not bad. Yes, laugh at the dumb attorney. I know why. He's fucking crying. The girl was right. That man is much too small for vehicles. It was a tight fit. Even I had to crouch as I walk. Your mother... I cannot imagine a vehicle that would fit in such a small space. What about your mom? You take that... You fucking take that back. If it wasn't a vehicle, what was it?
You had me going there for a while there, Mr. Justice. Too bad. Ready for the next part?
Why do I feel like I'm on some kind of quiz show? I think there was a... No, wait, now I remember what it was. I was just remembering a funny edit of when Mordecai and Rigby were making your mom jokes at Muscle Man, and he was pissed. You don't you talk about my mother! Stagehand waited. Did everyone on the concert staff know about the trick?
You know who else?
Not at all. Only a few that were needed to help. See? Like I said, it's on a need-to-know basis. So not many people knew about the trick.
What were these stagehands required to do?
One needed to open the emergency exit. The door to the stairs is locked, but once through there... From there, one can enter the forum on the opposite side from the stage. No, wait. So when you came back out, you were behind the audience. Yes, that is how it worked. Not a bad show if I do say so myself. That's Uncle Val for you. The old grammary touch.
But on the video, you are only gone for 20 seconds. How is that possible?
That's the part I don't get either. Yes, it would be hard to go so far in only 20 seconds. The plan was for me to move there in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Yes, it can be done in 1 minute if you are running. Running? In that cramped dark tunnel above the ceiling. Haha, Mr. Attorney, have you forgotten? Dark or lit, it makes no difference to me. That's true, but...
So you're saying that on the night of the concert you made the trip in 2 minutes?
Yes, though I nearly didn't make it in time. You see, I stopped halfway. Lemira disappears on video for 20 seconds, but she says she made the trip in 2 minutes. How? If you want my professional opinion, I bet the answer is right there in that video.
Well, Mr. Justice, perhaps you have some evidence for us. Something that can explain the discrepancy between the video and her testimony.
Gah! Evidence explain the discrepancy. First, let's look at the video. We're actually doing this. We're actually... The part with where she actually quote-unquote teleports. Yeah, that's 20 seconds. But I don't see any discrepancy. That she disappears for 20 seconds. Unless... Let me see first. There's one piece of evidence that explains the discrepancy between the video and the testimony. It's the video.
Aha! So this is it? The magical key to unlocking this illusion's dark secret? Tell us how it works, quickly. I can't bear this suspense.
I was kind of hoping someone else would jump in at this point. Well, you see... Here, Judge, I do hate to spoil the mood, but I haven't the faintest idea what he's talking about, and neither does he. I'm a little confused too there, Apollo. Right. By which I conclude that I was wrong. Better luck next time, Pollywog. Oh, this is horseshit. Let's try again. Evidence. Gun? Let's look at the... Maybe. It wraps itself around me. Through the air I fly. Nope. That ain't working. A gun. Brooch. That shows that why she was there. Lemira, do you happen to remember this brooch?
Aha! The brooch! We saw that yesterday, did we not?
It was found at the scene, Your Honor. And you're bringing this up now, why? I thought we had already determined when that was dropped. So did I. But we hadn't. Take another look at the video. Oh!
Right there! Right as I'm sitting down. Birdie. Don't birdie me! Before he moves, there's no tack, and after he moves, there's a tack. Coincidence? I think not! This little rat is guilty! So she is.
Let's look a bit later.
Oh! What? The brooch! It's gone! What?
Yes, the brooch disappeared in the short space of 20 seconds. And it takes a full minute to run from the stage to the backstage. Which means there can only be one explanation. The Lemira we see before the Vanishing Act and the Lemira we see after are two different people.
What? What?
The brooch was found on the floor at the crime scene. And not just on the floor, but on the floor directly beneath the air vent. Lemira, tell me, did you drop the brooch on your way from the stage to the backstage at the very moment you witnessed the crime? Yes, I think I did.
Order! Prosecutor Gavin!
From your expression, I gather you had no idea this was the case here, Judge. I, of course, knew about it.
What?
Don't get me wrong, I wasn't hiding it. It just never occurred to me that the switch and the shooting took place at the same time. So I was right. There was a switch. There was. Just before the stage's tower rose, Lemira was replaced.
While we're on the subject, just who was this replacing Lemira?
By the man behind the illusion, the Valent Gramarye. It was Gramarye? That's quite the illusion. But I still don't get one thing. Yes? The switch happened before the tower rose, correct? So you weren't on the stage. That's right. But this fake Lemira is still singing. And she's pretty good.
That's true.
Oh, please, don't you know anything about concerts? It's all pre-recorded. Come on, Apollo, that's an easy one. They were just playing a recording. The Gaviner's on some kind of air guitar band, Fräulein. Oh? You mean I'm wrong? When we play a show live, we play live. No recordings. Perhaps you can explain, Lemira. Very well.
Yes, do tell. And to add it to your testimony.
I had to keep singing, even while I moved. You were singing? Yes. Mr. Gavin expressed a dislike for recordings, so I used this. Wait, so you were singing the whole time? Even when you were crawling above the ceiling toward the backstage? Certainly people would have noticed that the acoustics were different. She was inside an air vent. Why should it matter where I sing, when everywhere I go is the same darkness? The acoustics!
But what if you were sitting while you were walking?
That's right. Wouldn't the shooter and victim have heard? She was singing right over their heads, after all. That is right. Are you sure? You would have to be pretty hard of hearing them as someone singing in the ceiling. Once again, we come back to the state of the scene of the crime. What state? Ah, I know what he means. That old speaker, Apollo. The speaker? That speaker was blaring at the time of the murder. Ah, that's for monitoring the stage from this room. Monitoring. Pipes in a real-time feed from the stage microphones. Oh. Satisfied? That dressing room was fitted with a large speaker playing a direct feed from the stage. At my request, actually. So Lemira singing in the ceiling sounded just like Lemira singing over the speaker.
Ingenious. Her voice was hidden by her voice.
Lemira? I have just remembered something.
Do tell.
When I heard the noise, the gunshots, yes, it startled me, so I stopped singing. What? I forgot the words I was supposed to sing. The song stopped? Thankfully, it was the very beginning of the second verse, so not many would notice. Forehead, that mixing board I lent you, where is it? The mixing... Huh?
That machine, Apollo! The one that breaks music into tracks!
Oh, this. I'd completely forgotten about it. Has that been jangling around in your waistcoat pocket this entire time? Let's take a listen. Oh! Oh, if I gotta sit through the whole thing. If someone does stop there, you gotta be kidding me. I was in the middle of a sip.
It does? I must have missed it.
Look at the lyric sheet at the top of the second verse. See where it says pleasure, pleasure? Now listen again. God. This is like when you're like watching a movie and you miss a bit, and then you gotta go back, but you go back too far, so you gotta sit through some shit.
This is evidence indeed. I believe you're guilty of making a terrible mistake.
The crime didn't happen during the third set. It happened during the second, during Lemira's ballad.
If that is true, then no one on stage during the second set could have been the shooter.
Which means that Darren Crescend could have done it. He wasn't on stage for the second set. Well, Prosecutor Gavin? Fascinating. I don't believe I've ever seen a trial turned around quite so thoroughly. Yet one problem remains.
What's that, Prosecutor Gavin?
Herr Forehead's theory does have a certain kind of logic to it. Yet it is entirely based upon Lemira's testimony.
Yes? Is there a problem with this?
Well, it's quite simple, though it pains me to say it. What if she is lying to protect the defendant? But you have no proof! All I'm saying is that the truth is as of yet unclear, until we hear directly from the man himself.
The man? You don't mean...
Yes. Though he is a friend and band member, Darren Crescend must take the stand. I see no other way.
As someone with a new perspective on the case.
As a suspect, to be frank. Finally, the rat's coming out of his hole. and I'm ready to catch it. Garrett Cassan, get ready for justice!
This is as good a time as many to pause for a brief recess. The prosecution will summon the witness. Have him here and ready by the time we begin.
I'm the last man who needs to be reminded of what his duties are.
Very well, court is adjourned for a 15-minute recess.
Wow, that was intense.